Women, what do you find the most confusing about men? For all the women out here, you do not understand our pain. Speaking as a dude here, you women are always like, being a man is so easy, what's all the fuss about? Well, you have to understand these. First off, comparing men and women as a reference, if a woman brags about the problems in her life, she expects everyone to care and comfort her. However, guys are always told just to get up and walk it off. Secondly, let's talk about relationships. If you're not happy in a relationship, it's your own damn problem. But if a woman is not happy in a relationship, it's also your own damn problem. Basically, it means that whatever we do, it's never good enough. For example, we're supposed to open doors for women, we're supposed to carry heavy stuff for women, we're supposed to put women first, we're supposed to pay for dinner, etc. And after all that we've done, women still complain about it. Us dudes also struggle to get near women. It means that whenever a woman gets near us, they think we could possibly be a predator and have to carry taser guns and pepper spray to defend themselves. To make things even worse, nobody freaking cares about the mental health issues of a man. To all the women out there, I hope that this helped you understand the pain we have to suffer. I'm a guy, and my ex-girlfriend would always be confused when I was given a compliment by someone and spent the rest of the day with a smile on my face. I might be wrong, but I assume it's due to women receiving lots of compliments in comparison to men, so they don't really assign a lot of value to it, but me, oh my, one compliment and that's all I can think about for the whole day. It makes me so happy. I remember being on holiday in Greece, and me and the ex went sightseeing all around the old ruins. And for whatever reason that day, I decided to take a risk and wear a bright Hawaiian shirt, even though I have a complete lack of fashion sense. A girl stood with us, asked us to take a photograph for her, and after I'd finished, she told me she liked my style and my shirt was awesome. And I couldn't get the smile off my face for hours. It means so much to us. We don't get compliments often, so to any girls and guys out there with a kind heart, compliment people more often. You could just make someone's week. There are some outliers to this, but all the guys I see have like 4 to 5 different choices for shirts, pants, and hair. Do you not get bored? ISTG, I would go to school and see boys wearing the exact same shirts. Men basically wear either jeans, basketball shorts, or sweatpants. They wear hoodies, shirts with the occasional button up. For hair, it's either on ear length, slicked back, man bun, which has died out a bit, and the rare buzz cut. Sometimes shoes are the most unique piece of clothing a man is wearing, but who the fuck looks down on your feet? I remember I had a classmate I disliked, but he wore interesting outfits, so he was interesting to look at least. Don't you want to wear something else other than your band's favorite shirt? Aren't you tired of basically 3 choices for pants? Don't you want to try more stuff with your hair? Isn't it boring to look like recolored versions of your friends and every other man? Why the majority of men are so delicate emotionally, but refuse absolutely to work through them. I get it's societal to be big man, grrr, but when they identify that actually something is an issue, yet still refuse to process it. As a woman, there's nothing sexier than a man that can discuss feelings in a genuine way. It's so confusing and really sad when they just shut that shit down. I get it was the wrong choice of words, I clearly don't, or I wouldn't find it confusing. All I do know is seeing the men I love suffering yet being unable to know what to do with emotions sucks, which is why I'm more than happy to listen and learn from other people's experiences. Maybe because I'm not neurotypical, I find it hard to understand why someone would be unwilling to work through their emotions when they can identify the reasons themselves. So many men seem to find it fundamentally impossible to relate to women. My partner is very feminist. He's always going to protests and calling his reps for women's rights issues and all that sort of thing. But he also falls prey to this. When I've recommended female-led TV shows to him, he has said things like, "I just don't think I would get the humor. There's nothing for me to relate to." My guy, your favorite TV show has an alien with a symbiotic relationship to another alien that lives in their chest and has a consciousness that has existed for the lifespans of multiple hosts. How are you able to relate to that character but not the hilarious friend group in Workin' Moms? I'm not a mother and I have no interest in being one, but weirdly, that doesn't get in my way. Rules seem to make you happy. My boyfriend plays a lot of tabletop RPGs and BattleTech, and he's said before that he's not enjoying a game because, I quote, "there aren't enough rules, it's all a bit confusing." Also follows for tasks, i.e., "can you microwave X for me?" No, that's confusing. Microwave X for 1 minute and 30 seconds exactly? He's a happy, happy man. To answer general queries, he has not been diagnosed with autism. He does have the spicy panic, aka anxiety. I think this may be partly why he likes rules and specific instructions, though he does get a lot of them autism/ADHD TikToks and has related to them, so maybe? He's a historian, specifically war history. Our microwave is 900 watts. The game recs are very wholesome and lovely. He is aware of the thread and enjoying seeing what people are recommending for him. Friendship between men. It's like you guys find a group of friends in your teens or college years and be like, that's it, enough socializing for the rest of our life, and actually manage to maintain those friendships. How do you do this? I admit I'm a bit jealous, but then again, so often dudes admit to me they can't open up with their male friends, hide their feelings and problems, and keep conversations shallow, which I think is kinda sad. Maybe that's the secret why those friendships last, but it adds to the confusing part. Because I question a friendship's worth if it doesn't provide a safe space between the individuals. Disclaimer: I am aware both of these paragraphs don't apply to all men. I'm talking to the ones it does apply to. One thing that has always confused me is how guys will talk about bodily functions in front of me. Example, I hate when cum gets stuck in the hole of my dick and spray pee in 2 directions. But the moment I say anything remotely like a bodily function, the guys panic and can't handle hearing it. I remember a coworker starting to talk about the effects of pregnancy, and one guy literally ran out of the room. My husband isn't like that, by the way, but he's told me that he used to work with a bunch of women, and they were always super surprised that he wasn't bothered by hearing them talk period stuff amongst themselves. They said they're used to other guys freaking out about it. Communication. Men only communicate when they need to, while us women are constantly trying to find some kind of meaning to life. Also, why is it that when men get comfortable in a relationship, you guys can go an entire day without saying anything to the other person, even when you're in the same house? But as a woman, I like to come and say hi multiple times a day. It's like, at the beginning of a relationship, men know what women want and do it. And once you have us, it's all about comfort. As I read this, maybe I should be asking why some women feel the need to constantly communicate? But for real, what happens to a man's brain when they get comfortable? How they intuitively know tools and objects and places based on absurd descriptions. Example given. A work site with several people working on an engine. They send a guy back to get a special tool. He asks the counter guy, "Give me the short blue thing." Counter guy puts a tool on the table. This is a form of hazing. The younger guy asks for the blue thing and the counter guy plays dumb. The younger worker leaves and then he comes back. "I need the long bar manifold wrench." The counter guy laughs. "Oh, the short blue thing. Why didn't you say so?" Second example. Watching a movie with a friend and he goes, "Yeah, this show isn't working for me. Last scene, it was obvious they weren't in France. The tall building shown for half a second last scene is in Serbia." I'm a man, but let me offer something I find confusing about other men, which I'm sure women do too. Why do you get so defensive when a woman points out some trait of men they've been around that they don't like? Why do you feel personally attacked? If you don't like the accusations that some men are pervs and rapists, what does it matter if you're not a perv or a rapist? The term "not all men" gets thrown around a lot, but A, no one said it was, and B, it being some men is enough that women have to be careful. All you need to do is not be that guy and call out shitty behavior when you can. That's it. Once upon a time, my girlfriend sent me into a gas station to get her a can of Mountain Dew. So I go in and search all over the place, but they don't have single cans of Mountain Dew. only bottles. But then I see it. A 12-pack of canned Mountain Dew. Now, in my guy brain, she said can, so I was not coming out of that store with a bottle. When I go back to the car with the 12-pack, she asked why I got 12 cans of Mountain Dew. I explained my logic and she started laughing uncontrollably. She brings this up all the time with other women when explaining how guys think differently. I'm a man, but something that confused my wife is when I suddenly take a deep breath for no reason. She's like, "Are you okay? You sure? Anything you need to talk about? What's going on?" And I just say, "Nah, I'm fine. I think I just forgot to breathe and I'm catching up." Popped out for a bit and wasn't expecting so many replies. Thanks everyone for the helpful information as to why we do this. I'll be sure to let the wife know, although she will still ask me. Glad to know I'm in good company with so many others. How is it that I know so many older, level-headed men who have good values, passion for their work, and opinions they aren't afraid of expressing themselves? The way they speak about their wives and families makes me want to go back into dating. But when I look at men my age, suddenly, most of them are dodgy, scared of commitment, and scared of having and expressing their opinions. I don't want to date men who are 50 to 60, but I'm so envious of their wives for finding such good men to spend their lives with. Why they think mixed signals and playing hard to get is gonna work. Or thinking bullying me for 4 years then saying loudly near me, "Well, I used to have a crush on insert my name," is gonna make it make sense. I've had this happen with a few different boys. Why do they think bullying or being rude on purpose or refusing to be nice to the girl you like is gonna make her like you? How is that supposed to make sense to me? Then getting annoyed that I didn't catch on at the time? This drives me insane. My wife's biggest gripe is that I will spend time hiking or drinking or driving or doing whatever with friends I haven't seen in months, and when I get home, I will have absolutely nothing to report back despite having talked solidly with them for 6 hours. My wife, on the other hand, will casually pass a friend in the street and within 10 minutes knows what they've done every day since they last spoke, the health and financial status of them and all other friends and relatives, and a forward-facing calendar for the next 3 months. After reading all these comments, it struck me how similar we all are, and that's surely down to our biology, the fundamentals that have been ingrained in men since the beginning of time. Like to dig holes? We need shelter. Like to problem solve randomly? We need solutions and to be prepared should a wild animal come and attack us. Go to the dock? Effort spent elsewhere protecting the tribe instead of ourselves. Guy friends? No need to speak too much, we get each other. Helps during the hunt. I find it confusing how men are so forgiving. It's one of the things I adore most about men and find the most baffling. I'm learning now that men will get over things like 40 minutes after they happen and genuinely get frustrated and sad when their girls hold grudges. I've found that the people I've had falling outs with and was able to rekindle my friendships with were mostly all men. I also find it weird how men will fight each other and then be best friends the next day. When a guy will slip something very heartbreaking into a conversation, like something an extremely abusive parent did or whatever, and he's talking about it very casually, and you're like, "Holy fuck, my dude, are you all right?" But you can't actually say that or overreact too much, because he'll never tell you anything again if you do so. So you have to sit there and be like, "Ah, yes, that sucks, dude." But inside you're like, "Sir, may I hug you, please?" I've learned a lot being married to my husband, but there's one thing I fail to understand in general. Why do you guys like to stare out the window so often? It's usually just going up to a window or looking out the front door and you fall into a trance. What's up with that? Y'all, I know that both genders are capable of looking out a window and both do it. There is the stare I'm talking about. Why do so many men have trouble being friends with a woman? Without hoping that someday maybe we'll like you? You can be friends with other men and not believe that they'll suddenly decide to bonk you or fall in love. Why is that different with your women friends? I cherish the friendships I have with those who have never tried putting the moves on me. But crazy enough, those men stand out because they aren't the norm. Why they assume they know my body better than me? I say I do not like a tongue flick on my clit because it hurts. They ignore me because they know better. If I say, I need to pee now, they know I really mean in like 10 to 15 minutes, and are shocked when I disappear immediately to pee. I have had this body for 29 years. I know it better than anyone else ever will. Dicks. The way they work is confusing. Like, I've been told that they only react when seeing or feeling something they like, but I've also been told it will just decide to pop up randomly throughout the day with nothing. A year or so ago, I was spooning an ex and napping. We both wake up to cum on my thighs, and it was soaked through his underwear, and I was like, wait, that's possible? I'm 36, married, and never sent a dick pic in my entire life. I'd only do it if my wife asked me to send her one, and even then I'd question it. If she wants to see it, she can just take my pants off. Have asked my wife if she's ever sent one to anyone, and the answer was no, because she didn't want it to be used against her one day if anything bad ever happened. Guys that say they don't want a clingy girl proceed to date a less clingy girl and feel neglected. I have to clear up my comments. I intend this as men finding women with this toxic trait of clinginess, but once they come across a partner who is more independent and want a healthy communication boundary, they find it not enough and yearn for the toxic trait they had been used to before. I find it confusing that men always claim women are the ones who can't control their emotions, but it's mostly men who are the ones who get into bar fights or kill their partners in crimes of passion. Not all men, obviously. That's why I said mostly men. That said, men do disproportionately get into far more violent altercations than women, which is frankly just the inability to control emotion. When my boyfriend is quiet for too long and I ask him what he's thinking about, he says simply, nothing, and shrugs. This happens at least twice a month. What? What do you mean, nothing? You can actively sit there and just wipe your brain clean? No buzz, just elevator music behind the eyes? What kind of fucking superpower is that, and where do I sign up? Why they take such a long time to poop. Do you go in there when you actually need to go, or just because you think you might need to go, so you just sit there for a while to see what happens? As a woman, both kinds of trips to the toilet take the same amount of time for me, but every man I know makes pooping a 30-minute event. How men don't hold grudges with their fellow bros, but women will rip the fellow women's hair off during and after fights. I witnessed it. I once tried to stop two of my guy friends fighting who were fighting over who ate their lunch. When I tried to stop them, they pushed me away and sorta fought. After an hour, they were back to normal. Like, how? Of course, not all men, but how some of them can resent or openly hate women and are still desperate to find one to spend their life with. In my experience, when women resent men, they're mostly like, yeah, I'm done, not interested in relationships and such. And men are like, women are subhumans and the worst. Why won't they date me though? My wife, along with her friends, are amazed their spouses and I can fall asleep within a minute or two of my head hitting the pillow. I blame working a labor-intensive job, but I know some men don't fall asleep no matter what. She is also amazed that I can't properly load a dishwasher or put food away into the pantry. Why is it that whenever I lose interest or stop giving attention to men, they want it more than ever before? Why would you not want it from someone who is genuinely interested? I understand in some situations where women might be clingy, etc., but this is true for all guys that me and all my girlfriends have dealt with. Why? I still don't understand dick pics. Do they really think we want to look at a picture of a dick in terrible lighting, sweaty, untrimmed pubes, with your 10-year-old briefs and gym shorts pulled down, and go, oh yeah, this is it, I'm glad I didn't ask for this, the surprise during a fun conversation is so much better. Women have told me they don't understand why I randomly walk to the fridge, open it, and take a look around. Sometimes when I'm hungry, sometimes when I'm not. I don't know why, it's just a habit. But I usually hear things like, are you hungry? Or, the same food is in there as the last time you looked. Men who marry women full well knowing they are with them solely for money, but then act surprised when they divorce them and take half their stuff. Like, dude. You're a balding, overweight 50-year-old and she's an extremely beautiful 20-something-year-old. Your other two wives didn't divorce you because of your awesome personality. Why they won't buy a new wallet even though the one they're currently using is literally hanging by a single thread. I love and appreciate the fact that it's because it holds some sentimental value to most of you. We'll keep in mind to gift those close to me in the future. Some men have absolutely no problem picking up after themselves at work, but forget how to do it the moment they step into their homes. I swear it's like a switch. How can you keep a whole workshop at work neat and tidy, but forget that the laundry basket exists? According to my wife and kids, I do this a lot. They always ask me what I'm doing and what I'm looking at. My answer is always, nothing really. It's the truth. There's nothing profound going on. I'm just enjoying not having to visually focus or think about anything. I don't find this confusing, more sad. A lot of men aren't told how handsome, sexy, good-looking they are. I tell my husband how much he turns me on daily, and I feel like women get that all the time, but men, not so much. The refusal of basic hygiene some men display. Like, I had a friend who absolutely refused to wipe off those last drops of pee after using the toilet, for no reason. He just said it's unnecessary, even though you always could see a nice wet spot in his pants. Why the dick hole in the underwear? Is it truly more efficient to maneuver it through a hole in your boxers than to just pull your pants down a little in the front? Is it a modesty thing for public? Please enlighten me. How their crotch doesn't hurt when they run or go up the stairs. Like, even with underwear, you just have stuff hanging down there. I don't even have a large chest and it hurts to run regardless if I'm wearing a bra or not. I cannot understand the logic that you want me to get a full-time job and work just as hard as you during the week, but also want all the comforts of a 1950s housewife without putting in any of the work yourself. How they will develop feelings for you, then do everything in their power to murder those feelings. I'm so fatigued. So many guys get feelings for me, get conflicted, have an existential crisis, then flip out and strangle their feels. Like, okay, bro. When they are clearly suffering from depression or something, and instead of getting any sort of help or even talking to you at all, they just push you away and ignore it like it's magically going to get better on its own. How do I know they are interested in me? How do I make it known to them that I'm interested in them? I'm way too shy to confess face to face, and yet I also find confessing through a text insincere. Why do they put so much value in their genitals? Maybe I'm just severely virgin, but I just don't understand why some men put all their self-worth in the quality of their dick. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Acting like a person you are not at all in front of your boys just to be cool. And every single one of the boys does that and no one feels comfortable with that. How the fuck does that make sense? That some will show immense interest in you, but as soon as you give them the same energy in return, they'll back off. I don't like that, and usually I'll back up and move on. It's confusing and very frustrating. My female coworkers don't understand how I cannot actively listen to people's conversations in the same room as us. If it has nothing to do with me, I ain't listening and I have no idea what you're talking about.